Have you ever stopped to think about how your lunch choice might be directly connected to your performance? We're going to dig into that today, how that meal you grab at your desk could be one of the biggest unseen risks to your bottom line. Let's dive in.
Okay, so look at this. This really sums it all up, right? On one side, you've got a brain firing on all cylinders, total focus. On the other, a complete system crash. Now, for anyone who works at a desk, especially a trader, this isn't just a metaphor. It's the daily cycle. And believe it or not, your food is often the switch that flips you from one state to the other.
You know the feeling. You're a few hours into your day, the market is just grinding sideways, and all of a sudden, your brain is screaming for a burger and fries. That isn't just random hunger kicking in. It's a totally predictable response from your brain, which is desperately looking for a jolt to deal with the stress and sheer boredom of the moment. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the parallel between revenge eating and revenge trading. They're both driven by the exact same thing, a powerful need for a quick dopamine hit to fight off frustration. One leads to a food coma, the other leads to bigger financial losses. But the root cause? It's identical. So if this isn't about willpower, then what is it really about? Well, that brings us to the science of what you could call the invisible hijack. This explains how these cravings aren't just in your head, they're actually engineered to target your biology. It really happens in 3 simple steps. First, you're sitting still, right? So your circulation slows way down. But second, your brain is working overtime, just burning through glucose to stay focused. And this creates what we call a sensory gap. Your mind is all revved up, but your body isn't. That gap makes your brain crave an intense sensory hit to fill the void. And guess what? The food industry has the perfect weapon to exploit that gap. It's called the bliss point. And no, this isn't just about making food taste good. This is a calculated scientific formula. It's the perfect ratio of salt, sugar, and fat, specifically engineered to shut down your I'm full signals and just blast your brain with dopamine. So the real takeaway here is that so much of the food we reach for isn't just made, it's engineered. It's designed from the ground up to be a sensory explosion that hits that sensory gap we just talked about perfectly. It's basically a calculated hijack of your biology. And this really captures that feeling, doesn't it? For your brain, hitting that bliss point feels incredible. It's like nailing a high-leverage trade that goes perfectly right. It's a powerful, rewarding rush. But, just like any unsustainable high, there's always a crash on the other side. And that crash is exactly what we need to talk about next. Because that amazing dopamine high, it comes with a very, very real cost. And that cost is paid directly out of your professional performance. Okay, so here's the play-by-play of how it unfolds. At minute 0, you eat the snack. For about 15 minutes, you might actually feel a little boost, a bit more alert. But then, around the 45-minute mark, the insulin spike hits hard. And by minute 90, you are deep in the food coma zone. We're talking brain fog, fatigue. Your sharp thinking is just gone. And just how bad is it? Well, this one number says it all. Your focus can drop by as much as 80%. That is a massive, massive hit to your cognitive ability, usually right when you need it the most. Let's be really clear about this. When you're in that crash zone, you're not just a little tired or sluggish. You have literally become a financial risk. Your own biology is now working directly against your goals. So what does that risk actually look like? Well, it shows up as slowed reaction times. It means your frustration tolerance just tanks. You start making sloppy, low-conviction trades. And yeah, it can even push you into revenge trading just to try and feel that dopamine rush again. So, how in the world do you fight back against this? How do you stop it? It starts by reframing the problem. This isn't about some miserable diet. It's about risk management for your brain. You need a trading plan, but for your biology. All right, here's a simple defense plan. First, the standing break reset. Seriously, just getting up and moving can clear that itch for a dopamine hit. Second, what I call high-friction snacking. In other words, make junk food hard to get. If it's not within arm's reach, you're way less likely to eat it. Third, hydrate. A lot of the time, your brain mistakes thirst for a craving. And finally, think about doing a 72-hour reset. Just cut out the processed stuff to recalibrate your whole reward system. When you start putting these defenses in place, you realize a fundamental truth about high performance. Winning the day actually starts way before the market even opens. It starts by mastering your own internal market. Ultimately, it comes down to this. There is no way you can master the chaos of the external markets if you haven't mastered the cycles of your internal one. Managing your own biology is the very first and probably most important trade you're going to make every single day.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this simple, powerful calculation. Don't ever let a fleeting, engineered craving for a $15 meal be the reason you make a $500 mistake. It's that simple. Manage the cause and you manage the effect.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What's your desk snack kryptonite? You know, that one thing. We all have one. Just being aware of what it is, that's the first step to taking away its power over your performance.